and welcome. We're so glad you're here. If you're with us on Facebook or YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to get notifications when we have new videos. If you're with us on Zoom, drop a hi in the chat. We'd love to say hello back. If you're with us in person, hello, everybody. And if this is your first time here, go ahead and sign the guest book, either in the lobby or at oakcliffuu.org/guest. Today's sermon is Saying Goodbye with Reverend Deneen Robinson, who is, unfortunately, saying goodbye to UUCOC. Deneen, I cannot thank you enough for the energy, the love, and the time that you have put into our church. I can say sincerely that you will be missed by so many of us, and that we all wish you the best of luck and the most joy in your future endeavors. Thank you so much for being a part of us, even if it was just for a little while. Renee has some important things to say about the subject too, about Deneen leaving and where we stand as a church. So that is in this week's e-blast. If you haven't read it, please go do so. There's a lot of important stuff in there, including scroll on down, read Renee's statement, and then scroll on down to read about widening the circle of concerns, white anti-racist and accountability group, Anti-Racist Accountability Group, I can say that, or WAG, and that is starting up next Sunday, February 5th, after Talkback. Lunch will be provided. If you have never joined Widening the Circle of Concern, then I highly recommend you do. There is a lot of really important stuff in there, and you really do get a lot out of it. And if you have done Widening the Circle of Concern before, it's time to keep working. All of us, we need to keep going. We commit to trying again, right? So if you can, please join us next Sunday, February 5th after Talkback. I'll be there. You can sit next to me or as far away from me as humanly possible, depending on what you think of me as a person. I won't be offended. Just show up. Thank you, Widening Circle of Concern. Y'all have done some great work. All right. More great work. Join us for a postcard party Sunday, February 12th at 12:30. We will be writing postcards to our legislators, letting them know exactly what we think about their anti-trans legislation. Write postcards, protect trans kids. There will be snacks. It's win-win-win. You're there with your friends. You're doing the good work. Good times. All right, there's a lot going on. So you really need to go check the e-blast. You'll have Workday Wednesdays there. Also, policies and procedures need to be updated. So if you have ever been on a committee that has worked on any kind of policies and procedures and you've just got something sitting around in some old email, we probably need that. So check out the e-blast if you think you might have anything that can help. Also in the e-blast, Deneen was in Austin last week to celebrate Texas UU Justice Ministry's 10th anniversary. There are pictures. Thank you, Deneen, for your hard work. Speaking of that, Texas UU Justice Ministries Legislative Action Day is coming up March 13th. There are a lot of anti-LGBTQ bills being debated this session, so let's help to stop them. Join in. You can join TXUUJM. The link for that stuff is in the e-blast, and you can also again join our postcard party on the 12th. All right, that's a lot. It is Sunday, but we don't stop the fun after the service. No, we have Talkback at 11:15, where we talk about the sermon and related topics. You always get something out of it, whether you want to talk or just sit and listen. We also have Adult Religious Exploration with Sarah Ricky at 11:15 as well on Zoom and in Charity North. Lots of great stuff. All right, it is time for member anniversaries. And oh my gosh, it is Miss Sacred Spaces herself. Happy UUCOC anniversary to Rebecca Moore. She is celebrating 24 years with UUCOC. Rebecca, thank you for all of your work and your passion and for being a part of us. All right, to you and to everyone else out there, I hope that you all have a very happy Sunday.
Good morning and welcome to the Universalist Unitarian Church of Oak Cliff. We're so happy to have you with us this morning. If you're new to our service, I don't know if you know much about UUism or not, but we are not a creedal church. We don't all believe the same things exactly, but we're more concerned with how your belief about the divine informs your daily life and your relationships with others. We have 7 basic principles which are displayed on the banners on the wall, which we strive to live up to. We do fall short far too frequently, I'm afraid. The key is to keep trying again and again. Thank you for being here this morning.
May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, Spirit of love, compassion, and forgiveness. Que esta luz que ahora encendemos nos inspire a usar nuestros dones y poderes para sanar y no para herir, para ayudar y no para impedir, para bendecir y no para maldecir, para servirte a ti, Espíritu de amor, compasión y perdón.
Deep in the shadow of night, down near the crossroads and cemetery gates, with bitter liquor and cigar smoke wafting, I greet you. Clad in white upon the floor before shrines, following the names of the ancestors being uttered, I greet you. You are the sacred and righteous rage of my people. Echoing throughout time from the lands of our elders, from the depths of the ocean, I hear you now. You call out to us in the swirling winds, and the clamoring of lightning, and the crashing of waves, and the flow of rivers, and the rustling of forests, and the clouds that move across the heavens, and the drumbeat of the earth. You are present in the cries of Black Lives Matter and no justice, no peace. You shimmer brightly in the flames of buildings crumbling to the ground as they are consumed in flame. In the calls for protests and direct action. In the stirring of pots, the laughter of children, and the tears and prayers of our guardians. You are Black rage. Holy and sacred, unbound and unapologetic. You swell in the hips and breasts, in the curves of cheekbones and nostrils, in the beats of the heart and pulsating thoughts, in exhaustion, in frustration, in numbness and mobilization, in life. And you name yourself as good. Holy and sacred Black rage. Be ever present in our struggle for liberation, in our work to be, to love, to exist. Guide our movements in all of their forms as we strive to be good ancestors, ensuring that our descendants might look upon our memory with favor. For you, for them, invite us to live without fear. Dear holy and sacred Black rage, give life to this valley of dry bones. Move like fire upon our spirits. Stir within us now and forevermore. Ashe, so be it, and amen.
For peace like a river. I've got peace like love like an ocean. Got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got pain like an arrow. Got pain like an arrow. I've got pain like an arrow. I've got pain like an arrow in my soul. I've got pain like an arrow. I've got pain like an arrow. I've got pain like an arrow in my soul. I've got tears like raindrops. Tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops in my soul. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops in my soul. I've got strength like a mountain. Strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain in my soul. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain in my soul. Sorrows and joys are things that ideally we experience as community. Sorrows are often things that bring us down, places and opportunities for us to lament, and they feel very heavy. The blessing or the gift is that in community, they can be lifted. In community, we can be support for each other. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. It is important that we understand that just as rain falls, the sun also shines, sometimes at the same time. And as we are experiencing sorrow, we also should always find opportunity to identify the places where there is joy. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. Now remain standing for the covenant.
Because we love one another. Because we love one another, we honor each individual's spiritual journey. Because we love one another, we celebrate life's abundance in service to each other, our community, and the world. Because we love one another, we connect with each other in love, respect, and acceptance. Thus do we covenant together. Thank you.
Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Let a dancing song be heard. Play the music, say the words, and fill the sky with sailing birds. Let it be a dance, let it be a dance, let it be a dance. Learn to follow, learn to lead. Feel the rhythm, feel the need. To reap the harvest, plant the seed. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Everybody turn and spin. Let your body learn to bend. And like a willow in the wind, let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. A child is born, the old must die. A time for joy, a time to cry. Take it as it passes by, and let it be a dance. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Morning star comes out at night. Without the dark there is no light. If there's nothing wrong, there's nothing right. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let the sunshine, let it rain. Share the laughter, bear the pain. And round we go again. Let it be a dance.
Saying goodbye. Grieving old versions of the self and celebrating new beginnings. So there is some irony in this sermon title today. And I have a macabre sense of humor, and laughter keeps me from crying. So it's not that I'm like, woohoo. But one of the things that I would say for me was a struggle early on in my life was the idea of saying goodbye. Goodbye to old ways of doing things. Goodbye to the lived version of myself as a child, as I became an adult and then became a parent. saying goodbye to the high school student who was now in college, to the college graduate who is now on to the working every day, not just when I felt like it, the person who was carefree and didn't have bills. Have I caught everybody in the room yet? To the person who now has perpetual bills that I resent coming every single month, but they come nevertheless, and if I don't pay them, there would be problems. But while saying goodbye to those things can be a struggle, at the same time, there are so many freedoms that we experience when we live into what it means to say goodbye. And Jack Kornfield says, to let go does not mean to get rid of. To let go means to let be. When we let be with compassion, things come and go on their own will. One of the places that I think is easy for us to get accustomed to letting go of is the different phases in our life. We understand that when we get older, we're going to have things that come like moving through school and going on to become an adult. It's easy to celebrate that because now you're not bound by your parents. You can become your own person. You can live your life the way you want. The places where we struggle is pain. It is hard for us to let go of pain, in part because there is an imprint that happens. As people who function according to a circadian rhythm, we can appreciate that when it comes to time. But what we don't often realize is we have a rhythm when it comes to our pain. It imprints in us on the inside. Have you ever wondered why every May, I'm using me as an example, every May I have a period where I'm just low. And it's been 20 some years since Mama died, but she died the first week in May. And it's only when I intentionally acknowledge that I'm able to go, oh, okay, so that's why this feeling of lowness is there, and now I can move through it. But we don't often recognize that every time we have a painful thing that happens to us, it makes an imprint on us. And so with intention, we have to work to move through it so that it can go, so that it doesn't continue to hold us bound, so it doesn't continue to be a place of struggle as we move in and out of relationships, as we move in and out of life situations, as we move through opportunities, whether it's job, whether it's a fun group that you are part of, no matter what it is. And here's the thing, holding on to the pain doesn't fix it. It doesn't fix it. Replaying that situation over and over, it doesn't change it. And just because you wish it were different doesn't make that so. It doesn't. And the goal has to be that we understand that there is truly an ebb and flow to life. We literally have no control over any of it. Our opportunity is to be in the moment. If it's a sad moment, be sad and then release that. If there's joy coming in the next moment, live fully into that. It doesn't mean that you don't miss the thing that caused the sadness, but it does mean that you're acknowledging that this is a new place. Does that make sense? I wanted to share some things that I've discovered that have helped me to not get comfortable with the painful places, to not get comfortable in the familiarity of places. We often arrive someplace, whether it's in ourselves or in a situation, and we say, whew, okay, I'm here now. This is it for me. And we put up curtains, we get a sofa. And if we wanted that dream mattress, we get that too. And then when it's time for us to move, we're like, but what about all my stuff? I can't take my stuff. No one told you to buy the stuff because you weren't going to be there long enough to appreciate it. And we do this more in our mind. I'm not talking about in our physical environment, but in our mind, we create a homeostasis where this is where I'm going to be. I've gotten past or gotten to whatever the feeling or whatever it is that you were looking for, and then we stop growing. We don't allow ourselves to learn anything new, to appreciate any new ideas, to grow past wherever we are. And even if we don't necessarily like the place, because we've created a home there and can't see ourselves anyplace else or doing it any differently, we stay. We don't grow. And so I'm going to share some tips. The first is understand that the relationships you thought you'd have are going to be different than the ones you actually have. We have to see things for the way they are. We can't put glasses on because seeing things the way they are may mean we have to change. Don't be invested in the outcome when it comes to dealing with people, because it often leads to disappointment. If there's more than one person in a room, it's an imperfect space. It is. We're not all the same, and we never will be. And that's actually okay. Our expectations keep us stuck. And the whole idea of engaging with other people is so that our edges can be sharpened, so that we can grow. Not so that we can learn to poke people better. Number 3, don't live in chains when you have the key. We often say, oh, I can't do that. That seems impossible for me. If we make this change, it's going to mean that the whole thing's going to fall apart because nobody else is going to show up. Maybe someone else will show up. Maybe someone else is waiting in the wings outside the door for you to make space for them to come in. We can't limit our understanding to what we see. And yes, for atheists and many of us, that's like, so you want me to consider that there's something beyond what I know? I want you to consider that there's something else. I want you to consider that there is another way. You don't know it yet. But the way that you know is not the only way. The way it is not the only way. The way it's been is not the only way. Don't allow yourself to be limited when you can simply release yourself from that and say, you know what? I don't know what's coming, but I know this ain't it. And so I'm going to keep looking. I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to keep engaging When I was working at Resource Center Dallas, I was given an unction to start a group for women living with HIV. I pulled my bosses, 2 of them, into what was then the library and said, okay, I really need to do this. And they told me, well, we have no money and you have no time because every hour of your job is already committed to doing something else. I said, that's true, but my lunch hour is free. So how about if I start a group and it's at my lunch hour? And how about I raise my own money? And how about, since we feed all of our clients for lunch anyway, we don't really need a budget for food. I can just work with the kitchen staff so that they can have a variety of things on at the day we're going to have the meeting. How about we pick Tuesday for a meeting, because that's a day when the attendance is generally low in the cafeteria area and the women can come and feel comfortable because there won't be so many men in the space. And then they can just come through. How about instead of them eating in the cafeteria, we set off a room? And since it's our building, I don't have to pay rent for the space. And generally, people don't have meetings at the lunch hour, so it won't be conflicting with potential revenue that Resource Center Dallas could earn. Had I been locked in this is the way it's always been, that group wouldn't have happened. And those women would not have been helped. And even though I'm no longer there, the group is still running. It is the longest running group for women living with HIV in the state of Texas. And we had a budget, because I talked about the group to every single person I met. And they found it so interesting that they started donating money. So at the end of every year, we had enough money left over that I could introduce them to ways of existing in the earth that were beyond their struggle. We went to a 5-star restaurant. I had someone come in to teach them etiquette, someone to come in to teach them how to dress, someone to come in to teach them how to learn how to eat at a table that had more than 2 pieces of silverware. And then we actually went to a 5-star restaurant where they could pick their own food and they weren't intimidated by the environment. We started with $0. No, I had no idea where the money was coming from. But the next year, I could plan better because those same people committed again. And by the 4th year, the United Way, they shopped the program to the United Way because it had been so successful. So it had a permanent budget. We have to learn how to trust that we literally have access to all of it. The only limitations are the ones we put on ourselves. The 4th thing is you let go of the idea that you can control others' actions. The only people and actions you can control are your own. How freeing is that? And only worry about what you think. Don't put any energy towards what other people think, because you really don't know unless you ask them. And are you really going to walk around asking other people what they think about you? Excuse me, Susan, can you tell me Stephanie, can you tell me what you think about me? Not in this moment, but just in general. At every decision I make, I'm going to consult you. about what you think about it? What if you don't like it? Then what does that mean? I can tell you that the first time I went bald, it was on Christmas morning. And I had already, that July, I had cut off my locks, so my hair was short. It was about this long. It went from being down to the center of past the center of my back, to being this long. My children were truly traumatized. I didn't ask them because I knew had I asked them, they would have told me no. Because they had grown accustomed to seeing their mama with this long hair. And I cut it off, came out of the shower, came out of the room with this towel on my head. So they expected the towel to stay because that's what would happen when I let my locks dry. I would keep a towel on it, and then I would sit in front of the mirror and make these little Bantu knots so that I could leave it up for a few days because it had gotten so long, it took days for it to dry. So they were waiting for my process. And then when I took the towel off and they saw that all of my hair was gone, they were like, "Where is it? Where is it? I want a lock. I want a lock. Mommy, why did you do that? Why didn't you ask us?" I said, "Because you would have told me not to do it." And then they said, "Well, you still look good, so I guess it's okay." So that Christmas, I was standing in the mirror having a conversation with myself, saying, I am fully, the question that I was asking is, are you fully open? Like, are you able to walk through the world, nothing hidden, no secrets in terms of your identity, how you show up in the world? And I was like, yeah, I'm totally out. I'm not in any closets. So then I was told, well, then cut off all your hair. I was like, what? So being me, I cut off all my hair. And the first thing my oldest daughter said, because we were on our way to my mother's and to see the rest of my family, she said, "I don't know why you did that, because now they're going to think you have cancer. And I just really don't want to spend the day defending you and telling everybody that you're okay." They were my little warriors. Actually, they're taller than me. And I said, "It'll be fine." But inside, I was so panicked. And when I got to the place where we were meeting and my mother came in, she looked at my head and she said, "Oh, well, don't you look nice? You have a good head for being bald." And just moved on. There was like nothing else, no other commentary, nothing. And most often we allow ourselves to stay because we are afraid of what other people are going to think if we make a move. If we say something, they're not going to like it. If we don't do what we've always done, they're going to have some commentary, and we are afraid that we can't stand up to the commentary. And then my aunt came in and she was like, "Girl, I've been thinking about doing that, but I'm just not as brave as you. You just keep on rocking that." Nobody to this day has said a single negative thing about me not having hair. Nobody. Here's the thing. We have to also not take ourselves too seriously. That's me. I fall there. That's where I fall. I don't often relax. And when I make decisions, I mean them. And I don't bend on them. And I expect other people to take them as seriously as I did, because it took me a long time to make it. I have to realize that it was my decision and not everybody else is going to like it. I'm the one that should take it serious and live into it. I don't need cheerleaders or a squad. We all move through, while we are in community, we move through the world alone as individuals who have other people who support us, love us, but ultimately it's us. You can't let your fear limit you. You have to do the things that scare you. For a long time, I can sing, but I would not sing in public without other people singing with me. When it came time, so I was the kid who, when we were practicing our speeches, I could articulate them well. I had perfect enunciation. Well, that's what the elders told me. And I would bow, I had it all down. And on the day of, I would get halfway through, realize that all these people were actually listening to me, and panic and run off the stage and literally crawl under the bench under my mama's dress. As big as I was, I thought I was hiding. I really wasn't. I would do that program after program, and Mama would say, are we going to have to do this again? Am I going to have a bigger scarf? Because, you're not the same age as you were when we started this out. I need you to be able to be okay with being in public. It was only after my diagnosis over 30 years ago that and having 2 small children, that I realized that, okay, I needed to deal with my own fear, and I needed to continue to push myself to do things that I was afraid of and know that I was going to be okay. I never thought I would be pastoring anybody. I know my gift is teaching. I know I'm called to do that. I do that in every area of my life, in my work life. I try not to do it in my personal life because people don't like friends that are always trying to teach them something. That does not make for a good dinner table. I have a theme for this meal. These are the things I thought about I wanted to share with you because, I'm the teacher. But the idea of standing in front of people on a consistent basis to talk to them about something, no. I was like, that's not my call. No, it's not. And then I had to realize that the thing that kept me from being honorable in this space, even when I accepted my call to ministry in April of 2004, was me. I was afraid of what the people would think. I was afraid that I wasn't going to have the right words. I was afraid that I couldn't put a service together. I was afraid that when the people got upset with me, I wouldn't know how to handle that. Those are all my fears. Were all my fears. But what I have learned is that my opportunity is to do the best job I can do. Share what I believe I am hearing to share in the way that I'm told to share it, and then actively work to live what I say from here and what I believe. And if I do those 3 things, the rest will come. And so I want to leave y'all with this. Carl Jung says, I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. It's all in the being. And we are moment by moment. There is nothing that we have done that we can't change. Just because this is the way you've done it for the last umpteen years, or days, or minutes, it does not mean if you discover that you need to do something else, that you can change. That you cannot change. The deal is, are you willing to risk all of what you have come to know to be true to show up as you? Thank you.
Join me in reciting the Widening the Circle of Concern covenant that our congregation wrote and approved spring parish meeting over a year ago, I believe it was. We, the Unitarian Universalist Church of Oak Cliff, commit ourselves to the study and dismantling of racism and oppression within our congregation. We commit our congregation and ourselves to the work of anti-racism and anti-oppression. We commit ourselves to listening, to learning, and to action. When we fail, we commit ourselves to trying again and again. We covenant to begin this work and to continue until all of us can truly say that we are a beloved community of justice, equity, and compassion. Thank you.
Okay, this is me trying to overcome my fear, number one, of public speaking, and many others. I agreed to do the widening moment almost a week ago, and I knew this was going to be a hard act to follow, or Deneen's a hard act to follow. But I brought all sorts of notes. I made notes on the fly. I have a book. I've got something, an email that I want to read. But y'all are going to pretty much get me just speaking off the cuff. Actually, Sherry, it was coming up on 2 years ago that the congregation voted. It was the spring parish meeting of 2021. And that widening covenant was what we agreed to. The congregation voted. And I have a note from that parish meeting. What are we voting on now? We are voting to put our congregation on the map of congregations committed to anti-racist and anti-oppression work within their congregation. We are covenanting to listen, to learn, and to act on that learning. Lastly, we are covenanting to continue listening and continue learning, continue acting. And I believe that we entered into that in good faith. We meant those words. The entire congregation voted to proceed with the Widening the Circle of Concern project from the UUA.
And no, I'm not going to read all this stuff. I believe that as UUs, when we say we believe in the worth and dignity of every person, we do mean that. And we know it's hard sometimes. You know, talk always turns to, how about murderers? How about this? How about that? But I believe when we say we are a progressive, liberal, open-minded, everybody's welcome congregation, we meant that. We thought we were. And we were just wrong about some things. And stay with us, Dexter. If you have to, no, sorry. We just turned out to be not what we thought we were, but we have a chance to fix this. And I know I'm rambling. I should have made actual notes to read from, but I just couldn't do it. Thank you. So just a couple of things probably out of order here that I actually will read. A year before, we voted as a congregation to proceed with the widening the circle of concern. Those of us on the social justice ministry were asked to read the report and summarize a section, just one section, one chapter, for everybody else. And I tried to read the report. Okay, this is from the UUA. I know we have visitors here. Anybody who's not familiar with some of the accurate but possibly unflattering stereotypes of UUs, we use a lot of words. We research everything. We think we're intellectuals. Well, many of us are. But this report was a scholarly, well-researched, well-thought-out report, but it was almost impossible to read. And I'm a pretty educated person. I mean, there are times when I felt like I was a scholar myself, but this was just, it was not only difficult to read, it was really difficult to hear. And what I got from it was that I thought it was saying, okay, this is the white supremacy culture that has permeated Unitarian Universalism, I dare I say since day one. We're still seeing this. It's a lengthy report. But I immediately thought, oh my gosh, they are telling me that I am not the kind, loving, good person that I really thought I was. I thought the report was saying, you are white, you are, okay, I might have taken things a little too personally, and I might have kind of this issue with insecurity anyway, but I thought it was saying that I was not a good person. I was a bad person because I was complicit in this, in harming people of color. And how could I do that? I'm a good person, right? Right? But I persevered. And the next year, I went, actually participated in listening to the report. So it was read to me, which is not a lot better than reading it yourself. It was just solidified for me that I'm a horrible person. But we had a study group that followed the reading of the report. And I stuck it out, and I kind of started seeing the light. And the short version is, no, I'm a really good person. I'm exactly what I thought I was. I just didn't see the whole picture. I just didn't understand a lot of stuff. And continued on with the study group. People that I had harmed completely without knowledge helped me see what I had done. I understood that whole microaggression thing sometimes, and they really need to rename that word because there's nothing micro about it. Seriously, when I first was introduced to microaggressions, like, well, it's so small. It's tiny, microscopic. How could I have hurt anybody? But I hurt people. I hurt people of color. Absolutely unintentionally. And that's the whole thing, too. Back to being a good person, thinking I'm a good person. I just didn't understand that impact is different from intention. Well, I didn't mean to do that. I really didn't mean to do that. And there was one instance where I actually got online and said, oh, this person said I said this. I did not say that. And if I did, I certainly didn't mean it, but I know I didn't say it. Okay, Googling, what does it mean neurologically when you, when somebody hears something that you didn't actually say? And then it was pointed out, but Kathy, it's not about you. It's about the harm that I caused. And just because it was accidental, just because I didn't know what I was doing, it doesn't mean I didn't cause a lot of harm. Okay, so I really thought I was just going to speak for a few minutes, but bear with me. I will thumb through this. Like I said, bits and pieces. Most recently, those of you who've been coming know that we did little prompts for the widening moment. Early on, we posed the question, what is a beloved community? And everyone who was there had a chance to write their thoughts on a piece of paper. I went back and looked at those this past week. And pretty much everything was some version of, what is a beloved community? It's a community that makes space for all to feel the love of welcome. There is safety, kindness, truth, and unconditional love. All are intentionally welcomed. I believe that we believe that. We just don't know exactly how to do it. But going back to those scholars, people are helping us with this. We are not in this alone in trying to move forward. And the one big note I made from Reverend Deneen's sermon, holding on to the pain doesn't fix it. And like those, alcoholism, addiction, those numerous things you could fit in, you got to hit rock bottom before you can pull yourself back. It feels like we've hit rock bottom. But we can pull ourselves out of this. We can pull ourselves out of this. I'm looking at the wrong person. I'm glancing over here at Deneen saying, we can do this. No, we can do this. And I'm working up to say, come please join the White Accountability Group, of which I am a co-facilitator. Thank you. However, going back to when I first read the report, how's our time? Well, we're long. Here's where I throw in, are you uncomfortable? Well, that's what it's about too. Just be uncomfortable. I'm very uncomfortable right now. We talk about being a welcoming congregation, welcoming everybody here. We want diversity. We used to pat ourselves on the back for being a diverse congregation. That kind of fell by the way. I mean, we're not that diverse right now. Why do we want to be diverse? Well, we're UUs. One thing, and got to acknowledge that, but what I read in my section of the report that I was asked to summarize, over and over, this is from the hospitality and inclusion section. Of course, I rolled my eyes. Hospitality? I mean, we're talking coffee and donuts. You don't know what you don't know. But anyway, over and over, Black people, Indigenous people, and people of color, as well as other people in groups not seen as mainstream in Unitarian Universalism, report interactions with congregations and Unitarian Universalist organizations in which they are treated as less than or received in a way that is simply inhospitable. When we talk about the need to become more diverse, inclusive, and equitable at a basic level, we are talking about hospitality. Our congregations need new practices around hospitality so that fewer people are repelled. Repel, that's a hard word for me, hearing that we repel people. Close to the end. In a time which fewer and fewer people believe that it's important to be part of any kind of religious community, it should be heartbreaking to us all that people who need our saving message, who are sure that our values could help transform their lives, are trying to be part of us and yet cannot exist within our communities because we lack basic skills in welcoming the personhood and gifts of all people. So we can fix this. We can become the people we thought we were all along, because we are good people who've just made some missteps, who have not understood. I'm sure there feels like there's a lot more than I want to say, but I won't. I think you get the gist of it. That was way more than a moment, and I didn't even read from the book. But please, this white accountability group, anti-racist ally, and accomplice group. Thank you, Sherry. It was in the works before things demanded that we kick it in high gear. So it's more important than it ever was. And I thank you for sitting there through my rambling. Like I said, still working on that fear of public speaking. Thank you all.
Let there now be an offering to sustain this place that so many of us have held sacred. We try to make donations as easy as possible for you. We'll be passing the baskets, and if you will read your order of service, there are other ways to give. If you're giving cash and need it applied to a previous pledge, it tells you how to accomplish that. You can text us a donation or you can donate online. Like I said, we try to make it as easy as possible. We'll do that this time.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. De ti yo recibo, a ti te doy. Así compartimos y vivimos hoy. De ti yo recibo, a ti te doy. Así compartimos y vivimos hoy.
So the people took their dough before it was leavened, their kneading bowls wrapped in their cloaks upon their shoulders. Exodus 12:34. You'll need to travel light. Take what you can carry: a book, a poem, a battered tin cup, your child strapped to your chest, clutching your necklace in one hot, possessive fist. So the dough isn't ready. So your heart isn't ready. You haven't said goodbye to the places where you hid as a child, to the friends who aren't interested in the journey, to the graves you've tended. But if you wait until you feel fully ready, you may never take the leap at all. And infinity is calling you forth out of this birth canal and into the future's wide expanse. Learn to improvise flat cakes without yeast. Learn to read new alphabets. Wear God like a cloak and stride forth with confidence. You won't know where you're going, but you have the words of our sages, the songs of our mothers, the inspiration wrapped in your kneading bowl. Trust that what you carry will sustain you, and take the first step out the door.
I said, Julian, you are holy, you are holding my hand. And Julian, you are holy, you are holding my hand. She said, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. I said, Julian, do you not know about sorrow? And Julian, do you not know about pain? And I said, Julian, do you not know about hunger? And Julian, do you not know about shame? But she said, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. I said, Julian, do you not know about loneliness? And Julian, do you not know about disease? And I said, Julian, do you not know about cruelty? I said, Julian, it's too much, it brought me to my knees. But she said, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. And she said, no one does not know about sorrow. And no one does not know about pain. She said, no one does not know about hunger. No one does not know about shame. And she said, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. And she said, no one does not know about loneliness. And no one does not know about disease. And she said, no one does not know about cruelty. She said, I know, it's too much, it brought me to my knees, where I heard, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things said, baby girl, do you not know about the Spirit? She said, baby girl, do you not know it's only love that never ends? And so all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. And so all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Extinguimos esta llama, pero no la luz de la verdad, el calor de comunidad o el fuego de nuestro compromiso. Estos los llevaremos en el corazón hasta que estemos juntos otra vez.
There ain't no way you can hold on to something that wants to go. You understand? You can only love what you got while you got it. Spirit of love and life. Spirit of holding on. Spirit of letting go. Help us attune to what our lives whisper to us, both the sweet words of commitment and the sweet words of release. Help us to know whether it's a time to hold tightly or a time to let go. Help us to learn that in each moment there is beauty. May it be so. That's my word. Amen.